Fractions to decimals, what were they?
1/2.
1/2,
1/4.
quarter,
3/4.
quarters,
3/8.
and 3/8, okay? So, it's asking for decimals, so like the decimal form of a half is what? 0.5. What's for a quarter?
0.25.
So 0.25. 3/4 was what? 0.75. Okay? And what is 3/8? 0.375, right? How did you guys figure those out? Like these ones, you guys probably know off the top, it's just memory. Pretty much knew all, okay?
Memorizing in the 4th grade.
Okay. So for this one, for like 3/8, what's the situation? How would you get that?
1/8 is equal to 1.125. Multiply that by the
3 divided by
That's too much.
3 divided by 8, right? So the simple way to look at this is just as a division problem, right? 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. 1 divided by 4, 0.25. 3 divided by 8, you punch that in your calculator, you get 0.375, okay? So that's all for converting fractions to decimals. That's all it is. Just look at it like a math problem. Top number divided by the bottom number. Again, when you have fractions, especially in this class, your top number is always going to be odd, and your bottom number will always be even, okay? So you shouldn't have anything like 3/5, okay? Or 4/7 or something like that, okay? Because we don't, yes, those are fractions, but on the tape measure, when you actually pull out a ruler, you're not going to actually see 1/5 of an inch or 1/7 of an inch, okay? You measure in halves, quarters, eighths, or 16ths. Okay, what that thing is in front of you, and I'll go through that, is it's a worksheet to help you get used to converting fractions to decimals, okay? And why we need to do that, why do we need to do that? Why? What would be a possible situation? Fraction to decimal or decimal to fraction?
because like for solving something in the calculator, you use decimal points, so it's quicker. And plus, then you solve like cosine.
Yeah. So most of you guys' phones deal with decimals, unless you have a scientific calculator. For fractions, you're not going to be able to do fractions particularly easy. Okay. Also, if you guys look at your project plans, right? So they're given in decimal form. All right, now like these ones, 24.5, that's 24.5 inches. So these ones we know, but as they start getting a little bit more, I guess, detailed, you may not know them offhand. Okay, so eventually, like you'll start to know and memorize the eighths. I'm not asking, by the end of the year, am I asking for you guys to memorize what's 9/16 in decimal form? No. I mean, if you do, that's great. It'll just make you, it'll just be that much easier. But all I want you guys to do is, if you have a fraction divided by the top number divided by the bottom, that'll give you decimal form. Also, what's going to end up happening if you guys have been kind of looking ahead at your bill of materials, again, this part's due Friday. So the finished dimensions and then the rough width and length and everything, that's all due Friday. But over here in this column, you have, it says basically the quantity. So you have your board feet, square feet, and linear feet. Now solid lumber is different from from plywood or trim. Okay, so it's sold in different units. And the reason being is just because of what dimensions you manipulate. Okay, so with solid lumber, you deal with all of the dimensions. Okay, you deal with thickness, you deal with width, and you deal with length. With plywood, you only deal with width and length. With trim, you only deal with length. Okay, so it's calculated differently, because you only deal with certain dimensions. Okay. So what you're going to end up doing is you'll end up just taking this through. Okay. And these questions should be pretty simple. Not until you get to the back side we'll start going over that. But all this is just asking you, to convert the fraction to decimal. Like I said, you take the top number, divide by the bottom number. There's some examples here for each section, and it just goes into more and more detail, so you'd actually get real life equations or situations. Okay, so you end up just taking these numbers, like I said, top number divided by the bottom number, and it's just walking through, baby steps, going through what would this one be. Okay, so this is 8.5. Right, so what would that be to inches? If I wanted to convert that to inches, what would it be? 8.5, right? Because we're converting to whole inches. So we have, on a tape measure, you have 8.5 inches. Okay? So you're actually you don't have a full inch. I can show this here. Right, so if we're to convert to inches, here's our tape measure. You have 8.5, right? That'd be this spot right here on the tape measure. You want to convert that to decimal. Okay, so that'd be the same thing as 8.5. Okay, next one is 2 3/4, which would be what? 2.75. So the only difference between this step here and this bottom section is that you're ending up putting a whole number in front. Okay. Basic math, right? If you have a whole number, it goes to the left of the decimal place. If you have a fraction or a half, something like that, it goes to the right. Next thing, what's actually getting for, like it says, is here. When you need to convert linear feet, or convert 2 linear feet, and again, that situation that's going to end up coming up is going to be for trim or plywood. Okay, you take the inch and divide by 12. Why would we divide by 12? There's 12 inches per foot, right? And we want to find out linear feet. So linear, again, what is definition of linear mean? What's a line? Tim, what's a line? Yeah, it's a straight line, right? So all you're doing right here for linear feet is it's just measuring in a straight line. That's all you're doing. It's asking for linear feet, just like your tape measure. So your tape measure is an example of linear feet. Okay? So all you're going to end up doing is taking your inches and divide by 12, because again, there's 12 inches in a foot. So you end up taking 2 divided by 12. That's going to give you what? Does someone have a phone or a calculator on them?
What do you need?
2 divided by 12.
It's like 1/6, which is 0.1.
What's the actual thing? 0.16?
repeated.
Okay, so 0.166 is fine. Okay, we go through the next one. 6 inches. Okay, so I want to find out what that is in linear feet. 6 divided by 12 is what? 0.5, right? 6 inches is half of a foot. Go through that. We're going to go through there. Okay. What we're going to do today, this will be, we'll say, all the way up to this part here. So you flip over on the back side. We'll have that due Monday, okay? So that's going to be due till Monday. We'll go through the remaining part after that. Just as a refresher, you have your bill of materials to this point here. That's going to be due Friday. Checking to make sure that you guys have these questions filled out, answered, and everything. We won't have anything today in the shop, so you don't have to worry about that. Make sure you put in yesterday. right?
How much do you estimate, how long do we have there?
We have probably about 20 minutes. 20 minutes for selecting material. And then lastly, what you have is again, those reading the multi-view sheets. And again, that was those questions here, okay? So that stuff's due tomorrow. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna head into the CAD lab and you have, I posted on Edmodo, I think it was yesterday or the day before, the do's and don't videos for the joiner. Okay, so you're gonna go through, find 18, try and find 18 safety procedures or correct safety rules that you'll need to follow. Again, try and get 18. If you don't get all 18, that's fine. But if you're ahead, make sure you have everything done for Friday. If you have that done, you can go ahead and start watching the videos for, what is it, 0, 02, 03, 04, just keep kind of going through. So basically these steps right here are talking about the process for squaring up a board.
You gotta have that worksheet for front and top and side views. Worksheet done.
Hold on. This one? For like this question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that'll be due too.
Which one has to be done for that?
All the way to the number 53. Okay? Alright, go ahead.